In the world of finance, we are obsessed with numbers. We track the Dow Jones Industrial Average to the hundredth of a point. We measure corporate profits down to the last penny. And so, we look at a figure like $60 billion, a conservative estimate of Alice Walton's net worth on any given day. We see the heiress to the Walmart fortune, a name synonymous with retail dominance. But the number doesn't tell the story. It is merely the headline. The real story is not about the money itself. It is about what one does when born into a world where money is no object. What path do you choose when all paths are open to you? This isn't a simple question. We expect children of titans to follow their parents' footsteps. Sam Walton built a global behemoth from a single five-and-dime store in Bentonville, Arkansas. His sons, Rob, Jim, took on roles within the company, steering the ship their father had launched. But Alice, the youngest and only daughter, did something different. She looked at the sprawling kingdom of Walmart, logistics, supply chains, low-cost retail, and she quietly chose another way. Her decision to chart a different course is the central puzzle of her life. It is an act of quiet rebellion, not a rejection of family success, but a reinterpretation of its meaning. For Alice, wealth was the starting point, raw material for something more personal and lasting. Look past the staggering net worth and the famous last name. Alice Walton's career did not begin in the executive suite at Walmart headquarters. It began on the periphery, in the complex and often unforgiving world of finance. After graduating from Trinity University in San Antonio, she didn't join the family business in a high-profile role. Instead, in the 1970s, she started as an equity analyst for First Commerce Corporation. This was not a ceremonial position. It was a job that required a deep understanding of numbers, markets, the subtle art of valuation. She was learning the language of money, not from the perspective of an heiress, but from the perspective of a professional who had to justify her decisions with data and logic. This was the foundation. From there, she moved on to head investment activities at the Arvest Bank Group, another Walton family enterprise. But even here, her focus was on the machinery of finance, managing portfolios, making strategic investments. She was in the family business, yet not quite of it. Later, she would step further away, founding her own investment bank, Llama Company, in 1988. Llama Company was her own venture. She served as president. She served as chairwoman. She served as CEO. It specialized in corporate finance, public and structured finance, real estate. This was a critical period. She was no longer just managing money. She was building an institution from the ground up. The Llama Company experience was formative, teaching her invaluable lessons about risk, leadership, the immense complexities of large-scale financial projects. Running an investment bank is navigating intricate regulations, managing diverse teams of experts, making high-stakes decisions under pressure. It is not glamorous work. It is detailed, demanding, and requires a tolerance for failure. The idea for the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art did not appear out of thin air. It was the culmination of a lifelong passion, nurtured in private for decades. Alice Walton had been collecting art since she was a young girl. She started with a reproduction of Picasso's Blue Nude she bought for a couple of dollars. Over the years, her collection grew in sophistication and value, but it remained a personal pursuit. The turning point came with a realization. This art, the American story, shouldn't be confined to private walls. It needed a home. That home, she decided, should be in Bentonville, Arkansas. Her business development strategy was a masterclass in leveraging her position. First, she committed her own immense resources, removing the financial uncertainty that plagues most cultural projects. That allowed focus to remain on quality and vision. She didn't just fund it. She personally drove the acquisition of a world-class collection, securing iconic works from artists like Norman Rockwell, Georgia O'Keeffe, Andy Warhol. She used her financial power not for personal gain, but to create a public trust, an endowment of culture for generations. The initial investment was a statement of intent, no ordinary regional museum. Second, she understood a museum can't exist in a vacuum. It had to be integrated into the fabric of the community. She worked hand in glove with local and state leaders to build infrastructure. This wasn't just about art, it was economic development. The project spurred the creation of new parks, extensive walking and biking trails, public spaces that transformed Bentonville, example, the Razorback Regional Greenway. Finally, she invested in people. The museum was designed to be radically accessible from the outset. General admission is free, courtesy of a permanent Walmart endowment. She funded programs for school children, partnerships with universities, fellowships for art historians. This turned a building full of art into a living, breathing educational institution. By removing economic barriers and fostering engagement, she ensured the vision became a cornerstone of community life. Well, in the end, it was about building something that lasts. She didn't wake up and decide to build a museum. Her journey was a slow accumulation of experiences. Finance, breeding, cutting horses on a Texas ranch. Each step fed a larger, unstated plan. A plan to build a life of her own design and give back to the community that started her family. This isn't just about getting rich. It's about what you do after. It's about choices. The financial success that underpins Alice Walton's philanthropy is a story of patience, about the near magical power of compounding, played out on a scale almost impossible to comprehend. The primary engine of her wealth is, of course, her inherited stake in Walmart. When Sam Walton died in 1992, he left his ownership to his wife and to his 4 children. The Walton family, through a structure of trusts and a holding company called Walton Enterprises, has consistently retained a massive portion of the company's shares. Today, they still own close to half of the retail giant. This simple act of holding on has been the single most important financial decision in the family's history. Wealth grew in lockstep as Walmart expanded to a global colossus. For Alice, her net worth grew organically as millions shopped worldwide. Dividends provided a steady, enormous stream of liquid cash, while the stock itself continued to appreciate. Her financial success is a testament to her father's adage, buy and hold. But her portfolio isn't just Walmart stock. Over decades, she diversified, though specifics remain private. Her major visible investment outside equities has been in art. Her personal collection, parts now at Crystal Bridges, functions as an asset class. Masterpieces are culturally significant and tangible stores of value. For example, Asher B. Duran's Kindred Spirits, bought for over $35 million in 2005, a cultural coup and financial investment. This blend of passive stock ownership and active, passion-driven collecting defines her financial footprint. She lets Walmart shares run quietly in the background, generating capital with relentless efficiency. She then uses that capital to fund projects that return something different: cultural, social, personal. It's a two-pronged approach: preservation of wealth and deployment of wealth to shape the world according to her vision. Alice Walton has never written a book on financial advice, nor does she give keynote speeches at investment conferences. Her wisdom is not delivered in sound bites. It must be inferred from the pattern of her actions, from the arc of her life. The first and most powerful lesson is the profound importance of a long-term perspective. The Walton family's decision to hold on to their Walmart stock through decades of market fluctuations is the bedrock of their fortune. True wealth is often built not through frantic activity, but through disciplined patience, allowing a great asset to mature and compound over time. The second lesson is the value of foundational learning. Before she was a philanthropist, she was a financial professional. She didn't just inherit money, she spent years learning how it worked from the inside. Her time as an equity analyst and head of her own investment bank provided a practical education: risk assessment, capital allocation, project management. Underwriting projects like the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport taught her how to finance large-scale public infrastructure. You must learn the rules of the game before you can change it. A third principle is diversifying not just assets, but passions: art, land conservation, community development. Her work with Crystal Bridges provided a sense of purpose that transcended market cycles. Value beyond the balance sheet. Finally, business and philanthropy can be two sides of the same coin: clear vision, meticulous planning, relentless focus on execution. Philanthropy, in her model, is a strategic investment in the future. When we attempt to list the businesses Alice Walton owns or runs, we encounter a modern paradox of wealth. She does not have a traditional CEO title at a publicly traded company. Instead, her ownership is embedded within the private architecture of her family's holdings. The primary entity is Walton Enterprises LLC, through which the family maintains its massive stake in Walmart. While she isn't involved in day-to-day operations, her position as a principal gives immense, indirect influence. Her wealth is tied to every decision in the Walmart boardroom. The most visible enterprise she runs is the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. Though a nonprofit, it is operated with the precision and ambition of a major corporation. Alice serves as chairwoman, guiding strategy and growth. She was deeply involved in every detail, from selecting architect Moshe Safdie to curating the collection. With a substantial endowment, the museum is a financial and cultural powerhouse, and unequivocally her domain. Beyond the museum, her influence extends through the Walton Family Foundation, where she is a board member. With billions in assets, it funds K-12 education, protects rivers and oceans, and invests in Northwest Arkansas, shaping policy and programs at national scale. Privately, she owned and operated Rocking W Ranch in Texas, a renowned quarter-horse breeding operation. Though sold, she maintains significant real estate and a vast personal art collection separate from Crystal Bridges, an invisible empire of art, land, and influence. When Crystal Bridges was announced, many in the art world were skeptical. Conventional wisdom said a major museum belonged in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, not in a small Arkansas town. They misunderstood the power of place, and Alice Walton. She knew the heartland was an untapped audience. The 2011 opening vindicated that belief as visitors arrived from across the nation and the world. The museum catalyzed tourism and local business, hotels, restaurants, small enterprises, attracting a new generation of creatives and transforming the region. She didn't just build a museum, she invested in her hometown's identity. From her journey, 3 truths emerge. First, invest for the very long term. Second, learn the fundamentals by doing. And third, use your resources to create value where you are.